course, joined by Ross Merriam. Today, we're continuing some of the potential matchups that could have happened in the top 8 of Mythic Championship Cleveland, but they weren't to be. Luis Scott Vargas ultimately fell in the semifinals, losing to, of course, the Esper Control deck.
Yep.
Defeated Marcio Cavallo in the top 8, playing that white aggressive deck with the blue splash, the Azorius Aggro deck that we're used to seeing. And we didn't actually get to see Luis play against Mono Blue, and I think that's one of the reasons why he actually chose the deck he did. And that's the matchup that we're going to be playing here in just a minute. This version of Izzet is actually based around Arclight Phoenix, very similar to the iterations we saw at the beginning of last standard season, where Goblin Electromancer helps fuel things like Tormenting Voice and Radical Idea, which allows you to bring back Arclight Phoenix, very similar to how we see them recurred in formats like Modern or even Legacy. And, it seemed kind of like a reversion, but one that actually ended up working out super well for him. He went 8-1-1 in the Swiss, won his quarterfinal, lost his semifinal. So 9-2-1 overall record, a very strong performance for this Izzet Phoenix deck.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to talk a little bit with Sam Party during the tournament, who's another person who was playing this deck. I think there were 7 pilots of it. They essentially surmised that Goblin Electromancer was a very well-positioned card for that weekend. There's a lot less red removal with the red decks not doing as well, so there's not a lot of people that are consistently killing your turn 2 Goblin Electromancers like there were last season when Izzet Drake's is better and more popular, and the Jeskai decks had more cheap removal than the Esper decks do now. So, and when Goblin Electromancer survives, this deck gets turbocharged. We saw it in game 1 of Luis's quarterfinal match against Carvalho. He was able to return 2 Phoenixes on turn 3.
Yeah, and that's obviously like one of the more disgusting draws that the deck can have with those just a few discard outlets with like Tormenting Voice, Radical Idea, but you're able to make them all cost 1 less with Goblin Electromancer. So potentially on turn 3, putting at least 1 Phoenix, and in this case 2 with that Tormenting Voice and Chart of Course. Just a very powerful start. And like you said, the Goblin Electromancer surviving, it being the well-positioned card, was the key identifier in the success of this archetype. And with Mono Red kind of falling out of favor, as well as the removal suites from the opposing decks kind of trying to go a little bit bigger, I think that Goblin Electromancer is just like perfectly positioned right now.
Yeah. So we saw in that first matchup, Luis uses Arclight Phoenixes pretty defensively. You bring them back against the other creature deck, you block, trade off with them, bring them back again, and grind some advantage over time with that. I think you're going to see a similar dynamic in this matchup, because Arclight Phoenix is such a powerful blocker against Mono Blue aggro, especially Autumn Burchett's winning list, which is what I'm piloting today, which only has a single copy of Mistcloak Herald, which is one of your few cards that can break through that game plan. In most lists, you see have 2 or 3 copies. Autumn's down to 1. It does have an Entrancing Melody, which could be good here. I take the Electromancer, start defending my spells more efficiently.
That could be dangerous.
There's not a lot of cards in the deck that get cheaper from me taking Electromancer. It's Wizard's Report if I don't have a Wizard, and Electromancer is a Wizard, so that's already there. And then negates out of the sideboard. I guess making future melodies cheaper might be relevant. So we'll see how the other things match up. A Crackling Drake is always a great blocker. Izzet Drake's is not a matchup I want to face when I'm playing with Mono Blue. You've got good blockers and cheap interaction, and you have enough velocity that you're going to see those cards consistently. And if there's one thing the Mono Blue deck doesn't actually do, it's apply that much pressure to your opponent's life total. You're chunking in for 1, 2, 3 points of damage at a time, so you have a little bit of time, even if you're going to fall behind by a couple cards, to find your pieces of interaction and then take over the game with Arclight Phoenix and Crackling Drake. So this is a matchup I'm definitely worried about, but the Mono Blue deck has proven its worth across the board, and
time again too.
Yeah, we'll see how it stands up to this test.
I'll say this, as a proponent of playing Izzet strategies, the card Shock, when combined with some form of 2-mana interaction, whether it's Lightning Strike or Lava Coil, oftentimes is enough to overload the nut draws from the Mono Blue deck that involve a 1-drop creature, a Curious Obsession, and 1-mana protection spell. The Shock usually gets countered by a Spell Pierce or a Dive Down, but then you untap, your opponent's tapped out, and they're vulnerable to that removal spell. And not many decks can say that they can effectively win that exchange, especially on the draw. And I think that is a pretty big deal. And one of the reasons why Mono Blue is not necessarily favored in this particular matchup. But we did not get to see this matchup play out in the top 8. Luis never got to play against it, even though there were 3 copies. They kind of cannibalized each other on that side of the bracket. And I think that this is one of the reasons why Luis and team played this deck, because they thought the prevalence of mono blue would knock out decks like Esper Control. I don't think this deck is very good against Esper or any form of Nexus. It has like very few counter spells in the main deck, if any, if I recall correctly. Whereas, you know, the older versions that play Drakes, like Enigma Drake, would have Spell Pierce and sometimes even main deck Negate. So those matchups are going to be a bit rougher, but they were hoping that Mono Blue would kind of shove those out, and it kind of capitalizes against things like Sultai, this matchup. Pretty decent matchup against like Mono Red, I would think. A couple other decks, I think. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think they certainly built their deck with sort of creatures and fair mid-range decks in mind. They've got a main deck copy of Ral as a Viceroy, main deck copy of Beacon Bolt, so those sort of flex spots are built towards beating fair decks.
Right.
Not as good against Nexus, but, you know, with the fast Phoenix draw, you can apply a lot of pressure, and I'm sure they've got some counterspells in the sideboard to help that matchup out.
Absolutely.
So definitely, this is one of the, though, that I think that generally the Izzet decks are going to be on the favorable side of, but I'll give it my best shot here.
All right. Any questions that are pressing or important for this?
We do have a kind of conversation going on, you know, we've had for a while of why isn't anybody playing Jeskai, why are playing Esper? We've gone over that before, but is there any thought to playing a Jeskai deck given that Niv seems to be so good against the mono blue deck, or is that not true?
No, Niv is extremely good against the mono blue deck. I just think that Temur is currently a better choice if you're going to play that route. I think that if you want to play a Teferi deck, you just want to play Esper because you have Kai's Wrath. Cry of the Carnarum is pretty well positioned right now, which is nice.
Thought Erasure.
Thought Erasure. Sanity. Yeah, all these cards are just super, super good. And the only benefit you get from playing Jeskai Control is Niv Mizzet, I don't think it's worth it. You know, you can figure out a different shell to play Niv Mizzet. You don't have to play Jeskai Control. But if you want to play Teferi, I think Esper is where it's at. All right, let's just go ahead and get to the match because we have been chit-chatting for a while. I lost, so I'm going to be on the play. How's that sound? Sound good for you?
That's fine. All my spells cost 1 anyway.
Hey, all mine cost 2, but they're going to cost 1 in a second.
Let's get a Terramander out there.
Scary Terry. All right, let's play a Goblin Electromancer.
Tilt.
I told you I had it. What are you talking about, Tilt?
Attack for 1.
Yeah.
Siren Storm Tamer.
Yeah.
Pass the turn.
All right. Draw for turn. Radical Idea.
Resolves.
Well, folks, this is one of the downsides of this mana base.
No third land.
Attack.
18.
And I kind of need to. I don't know. All right. Lava Coil the Storm Tamer.
Spell Pierce.
Sure. Your turn.
Okay. Now is some sort of opening. Let's try to opt and find a Curious Obsession.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not want that one. Don't want that one either. Let's try again.
What?
Attack for 2.
Yeah, 17 to 18.
Play another Terramander.
Okay. Draw for turn.
Yep.
All right. I'm just going to hard cast a Phoenix.
Gross.
Okay. So I'm just going to hold this back to block, but I think I want to attack with this one.
16.
Your turn. Now he's going to have to play something like Merfolk Trickster to really deal with this, or get his Terramanders up. You know, we could gamble, but drawing so many mountains. So when I was building the original iterations of this back in like October, November, the mana base needed to have like an even mix of mountains and islands, and then kind of an even mix of Tormenting Voice, you know, the Discovery Dispersal, Radical Ideas. Because if you had
that's the turn.
Too many, like in this instance right here, we had 3 mountains, and we couldn't nut draw with the Radical Idea because we didn't have another blue. All right, let's go Discovery.
Yep.
Top 2. All right, we'll bend this, keep an island. Radical idea, discarding a Phoenix.
Yep.
All right, I will shock Siren Storm Tamer.
I will spell pierce that.
I will pay 2.
I will let your shock resolve.
Okay, bring back Phoenix.
Yep.
Attack for 8. You have 3 in the yard, so you can't quite pump Scary Terry just yet.
I'll chump an Arclight Phoenix and go to 11.
Okay. Strange. So now you can just pump Terramander.
So we do have Autumn Burchett in chat.
Woo!
And they
What's up,
said
Autumn?
this isn't their deck list. The islands aren't mismatched.
Oh! Snap! You done? You gonna attack me for 5 and then be dead? What's wrong? You look so weird right now in the face. Your face is all weird, Ross.
2 in hand?
I have 2 cards.
Jack.
I'm gonna kill you.
Okay. I think attacking there is my best chance to win. Like next turn I get to obsession it, attack Todd to 6 and hope to just draw another blocker. Which I would have bricked, but
All right, another game one.
I think if I sit there, Todd eventually just gets to like overload. I can never attack because you get to double block and like things don't get better for me.
Oh, I agree.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Even though my hand was a little wonky, it was still very good for this matchup. I had a decent amount of cheap interaction. I had the ability to bring back a Phoenix on 5 while still doing a bunch of interactive things, and I drew enough mana to like kind of play around Spell Pierce at the end there, or just like make it ineffectual. But we'll play another pre-board game. Any questions while we're shuffling? If Autumn has any pointers for Ross, please. He's gonna need some help in this one, I think. I'll say this: Autumn is very happy that they played against Esper Control instead of Luis in the finals. I bet.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I had 3 creatures on the battlefield. I just couldn't beat a single 3/2 flyer. Can never attack.
Ooh, this will be an interesting hand. I don't think this hand is good, so let's play another pre-board game. You got a Dees one? Dees plus one?
Their main point is not to play against Darklight Phoenix. That seems like a mistake.
Yeah. I got to choose the matchups this week, so I didn't make them super lopsided or anything.
I'll try this one. I don't think it's that good. Maybe I need to mulligan more aggressively in this matchup because it's so bad. Attack for 1.
19.
You can go.
Go ahead.
Attack for 1.
18.
Pass.
Radical idea.
Resolves.
Draw for turn. Go.
Attack for 2.
16.
Play another Storm Tamer.
Yep.
You can go.
Radical idea, discarding Phoenix.
Resolves.
Go.
Attack for 3.
13.
Pass the turn.
Radical idea.
Resolves.
Radical idea.
Starting to sound like a broken record. Discarding Phoenix again? Yeah, classic.
Look, it's not my fault you didn't put any pressure on me.
I played 3 creatures.
It's not my fault none of your creatures apply pressure. Let's go Lava Coil targeting Siren Storm Tamer.
Dive down. We'll say everything's targeting this one.
Yeah, that's fine. Shock targeting the other one.
Dive down the other one.
Shock targeting the original one. Got him! Alright. Alright, declare attacks.
Sure.
Go. If I just don't attack, he can never win. Don't worry about it.
You have 3 in hand?
I have 4. All my cards cycle, man. Play your Tippy Tapper. That's fine. Tap down my bird. All right, this is the look I wanted. Okay, after last match, this is what I was begging for.
Pass the turn.
Look, man, it's just a game of Magic. You don't got to be all sad about it. Okay. All right, Phoenix.
Sure.
All right, attack for 9.
I'm at 11.
Go. Now, he was a little short of activating Terramander, which is why I didn't do anything, but... Yep. Plays a land, he can activate and attack for quite a bit, but he might be dead.
Attack for 4.
I'm at 9.
Pass.
Okay. We got a little game going here as long as I don't attack. I'm going to opt the OT.
Yep.
Chart a course. That's not a bad one. Okay. Crackling Drake. See if he's got counter spell.
Resolves.
Draw a card. Attack for 3.
At 8.
Chart a course.
Yep.
Go.
4 in hand or 5?
I have 4 cards.
I don't know how I can win.
I don't need it.
How big is the Drake?
7. 7/4.
It's pretty big.
Berg. He tapped. I assume that's the one you want tapped.
Yep. Perfect.
Curious Obsession?
Better.
My favorite thing would be if you just played Curious Obsession and then didn't attack. Walk.
Go.
Was that like a hope that I don't have 3 instants of sorceries to play? Because I sure do. Okay.
Okay, that one's not a spell.
You're right. It's not. We'll lead off with Bacon Bolt on Terramander.
Negate.
Perfect. Okay. Shock a Storm Tamer, Lava Coil, a Storm Tamer. Bring back both Arclight Phoenix and attack for lethal.
Sure.
Dun, 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 dun. Do-do-do-do-do-do. All right. Game 1 in all serious mode. All right. I want to get back to playing real Magic. So this is okay. I just want to point out everyone who calls me salty when I'm losing. You see this man right now? Do you see this? No one goes after you, okay? Because I'm more animated when I'm salty because I'm trying to hem it up, make it entertaining.
And I'm not.
You close down. I need you to be alive when you're dying. You know?
I want you to think about what those 2 words mean, Todd.
Oh yeah.
And then get back to me.
So we're gonna get the sideboards here, I guess, and we'll see if Ross can make up some ground in the sideboard. It's not looking good.
It's not the air on the air. It's not the ground I need to make up. It's the air.
All right, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
And we're back for sideboarding between Mono Blue Aggro and Izzet Phoenix. I'm not doing a whole lot on my side. You know, the issues with this matchup are really structural, so they're very difficult to fix even with sideboarding, and this matchup is not very popular, so not surprised to see the Mono Blue list a little bit unprepared for it.
Sure.
I am bringing in Deep Freeze, which is sort of your concession to these really difficult to answer flying creatures, and especially Niv Mizzet out of the sideboard. I gave a long think to bringing in the extra Essence Capture out of the sideboard because the creatures are really problematic, and they're what I want to stop. But the fact that Arclight Phoenix doesn't need to go onto the stack in order to enter the battlefield is problematic. So there just aren't a lot of creatures here that I can actually answer with capture. So I don't want to draw too many of them. So instead, I'm just cutting some of the one-of flex cards in the main deck for deep freezes. Going to try to be lean. Todd loves Surge Mare more than any human should.
I just think that it has the duality of being like a strong blocker against some of the more aggressive decks in the format, as well as just dodging burn-based removal. I think just it's important to have creatures in your deck that you can cast early on and not have a fear of them dying. And I could be wrong, and that's fine. I think it's better than Merfolk Trickster in this matchup, for whatever that's worth.
Nothing's better than Merfolk Trickster.
Okay, never mind. From my side, we're going to be basically making our deck a bit more bulky, but we're just going to try to brute force the victory after sideboard here. We're taking a little of the fluff out. Tormenting Voice being able to get hit with a Spell Pierce is just a disaster waiting to happen, so we're cutting those for sure. The Discover, Dispersal, and Radical Idea, these are just concessions that I want to turn these kind of dig spells into just more juice, and we're basically replacing them with things like Entrancing Melody and Shivan Fire. And then Ral, we're just replacing with a Niv Mizzet because it doesn't get countered. And then the Beacon Bolt is just becoming a little bit leaner and just becoming a Spell Pierce. But I don't think that we have bad cards in our deck other than Tormenting Voice. I think one of my go-to strategies for trying to beat Mono Blue is just brute forcing them and trying to overload their cheap interaction, their cheap protection spells. And you do that by just leaving in anything that says interact with an opposing creature. The problem for us is that if we want to do that, we need to cut the core components of our deck, like the Radical Ideas, the things that work with Arclight Phoenix, or we need to cut something like Crackling Drake, which is quite good in the matchup because it's a flying blocker. And if Ross doesn't have Essence Capture, it really only gets hit by Wizard Retort.
Yeah, one of the reasons that this matchup is so good from the Izzet side is because rather than spinning your wheels with a lot of the cantrips, your cantrip heavy hands will often just return Arclight Phoenix and become interactive in that way.
Right.
So you don't need to overload on bad interactive cards like Beacon Bolt, which are expensive and sorcery speed and are things that can actually let you get tempoed out. You just cast your Chart of Courses or Radical Ideas, make a 3-2 flyer or two, and that gives you all the time you need to get to your end game.
Quick question real quick before we begin. Histeus wanted to know, what are your thoughts on Transmogrifying Wand over Deep Freeze?
I've never actually put Transmogrifying Wand in my deck. I have too much self-respect for that, but maybe it's good. I don't know.
I have cast it exactly one time in my entire life. It was in a sideboard of a deck last season, and on Magic Online, I boarded it in, and I cast it, and I activated it. My opponent conceded on the spot, and I don't even remember what it does.
You turn their creatures into 2/4s.
Oh,
yeah. It enters with 3 charge counters on it. 1 tap, remove a charge counter from it. Destroy target creature. Its controller creates a 2/4 white Ox creature token. Activate this ability only when you could cast a sorcery.
Okay.
It's quite good against the Izzet deck. So it just takes care of their first 3 giant flyers.
Does it exile or destroy?
Destroy.
Okay, so it doesn't actually deal with Arclight Phoenix, so that's important. I think against some decks, that card could be pretty strong, especially because the bodies on the ground don't matter as much. Sorry. Well, we got no lands. Okay. My 13 cards had 1 total land.
Plan A is working to perfection.
All right, take another question or two while I'm mulliganing.
Too bad my hand is mediocre.
It's about all I got right now,
I don't know what to
unfortunately.
tell you, man. Okay.
Histeus is coming in real strong today.
Oh, yeah. No, if you have any questions, make sure to add SCG Tour in the chat. Rob's going to be picking his favorites and asking us all along the way. And, we don't really have any right now. And that's not a good thing. So this is just me shuffling. Saying words.
I was quite happy to not have to play against any Izzet decks in Cleveland.
Just going to go to 5, I guess.
You'll get there eventually.
I've had 1 land in those 3 hands.
Your deck only has 21 lands.
You can start this right now.
That's where you're supposed to say, but your deck only has 19, Ross.
Yeah.
But
you don't ever get mana screwed.
But all mine are islands.
Yeah. Death Magic 37 wants to know, if you had to recommend a best of 1 deck on Arena, what would you play right now?
No.
No?
Don't do
All
it.
right.
I don't know, man. I tried best of 1. I tried to give it a shot. The last time I tried playing best of 1, I played against Mono Red 7 times in a row. That's not an exaggeration, and I have not played it since. So play a deck that is heavily slanted towards beating Mono Red.
Just play Mono Blue.
Yeah, mono blue's fine too. It also just beats up on those like polarizing decks. I'm just gonna go to
beats
6
up on
again.
Nexus. It's actively good against red, but people don't realize it yet.
Okay, this hand is pretty good. We're gonna keep that on top. Okay,
Island go.
go.
Opt.
Resolves.
Bottom.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
Tilt. Electromancer.
Essence capture.
Resolves. If he had capture there, I was fine with it because he doesn't get the value of the +1/+1 counter.
Pass the turn.
We're not under any duress, so I will play a chart, a course.
Resolves.
Draw 2. Pitch a Phoenix. Play a mountain. Say go.
Trickster.
Resolves.
Possession my Trickster.
Try to shock it.
Spell Pierce.
What is this body language coming from you when you just have it?
Attack for 3.
I don't understand.
You're at 17. I draw a card.
Yeah.
Go.
He's making you think he doesn't have it.
Okay, I don't have it. Okay, I don't have a way to kill this right now. Just so you know, I don't have a way to get this back right now. Just so you know. Cheer up, Charlie. Come on, man. Jeez. Double shock it. I drew a shock. Okay, I drew a shock. Give me a break.
You keep telling me you don't have it like I don't know you're going to draw it.
Okay.
I know it every time. Pass the turn.
Look, I didn't get back Phoenix. Okay, everything is fine. All right, everything is okay. Cheer up, Charlie. Declare attacks.
Yep.
Attack for 2.
Play a Trickster.
Yeah, resolve.
Block.
Sure. Okay. I thought maybe you'd go for a dive down. I got some things I could maybe do in response. All right. Your turn.
And a turn, I'll opt.
Sure.
Perfectly fine to just trade away and get that Electromancer off the board.
Yeah.
Going to be hard for Todd to triple spell, especially on only 1 blue mana there.
Yep, and that's the joke.
Now we just need to find Tempest Djinn. For now, we have a Storm Tamer, though.
That's good.
Pass the turn.
Opt.
Yep.
So Todd, for a while now, the Izzet Drakes and now this Phoenix decks have played the Blood Crypt or Dragon Skull Summit. Why play that over like a Watery Grave or a Drowned Catacomb?
Attack for 1.
So the shocklands are important to be red so that you can cast shock on turn 1 against aggressive matchups. And if you're going to play a black shockland, I just think you want to be Blood Crypt. But if you're going to play the other one, like the Buddy Land, I think Drowned Catacombs is probably fine.
So you're at 16 from that attack?
Yep.
Pass the turn.
I think I'm going to just pass the turn here.
Tempest Djinn, Blaze.
Tempest Djinn.
Blaze!
Tempest Djinn.
Blaze!
What's up?
That's an interesting one.
The Scary Terry, little 5/5 action.
I'm going to keep it and attack.
Okay, I'm at
15.
15.
Pass.
All right, Charter Course.
Resolves.
Discard Island. Play an opt.
Resolves.
No, not yet. Sorry. I'm going to play a Lava Coil on the Storm Tamer.
I'll dive down it.
Okay, and then I'll play an opt.
Resolves.
Bottom Electromancer since we're kind of out of juice. And I'll bring back 1 Phoenix. And I'll pass the turn. Just in case he draws Curious Obsession. I want to be able to block.
Mystical Terrell.
Sure.
Pass the turn.
Ooh, maybe he drew Entrancing Melody or something. And he's like, I don't really want to do that. Crackling Drake?
Retort.
Oh, that was the draw. I see. Your turn.
Coward. Attack for 1.
Okay.
You're 14.
Yep.
Play another Storm Tamer.
Yep. Think I should attack now?
Cast Izzet. And the game
I don't have
ends.
it yet, but I got a good look at it.
Sure.
A radical idea. Can turn this land into a spell, but if I actually just hit Niv here, I'm pretty sure I just win. But if I draw a Phoenix off the Radical Idea and I get to discard it, that's also pretty good. Whatever. I'll keep it. Radical Idea.
Yeah, I like keeping the idea.
I will. I guess I don't really need to play it just to pitch the land right this second, so I'll play this and say go. 13.
Go. Just can't draw Tempest Gin to save my life.
Chart course.
Resolves.
Mountain. Your turn.
Tempest Gin. Same thing. Attack.
13.
12, right? You were 13 last turn.
Sure, 12. I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, no. It's so big.
6, 7, 8.
Scary Terry. Scary Terry.
Pass the turn.
You can do it in response again. Just pump it.
I'm going to do it on your upkeep.
End of turn. Nothing. Okay.
Upkeep, adapt.
Yep. Draw. Crackling Drake.
You're the worst.
Is it good?
Finally draw a relevant card.
All right.
How big is this thing?
It's gigantic. It's probably best if you don't attack. Here you go.
11. Draws 3 Crackling Drakes. It's just unreal. That's so many turns to draw something relevant.
Hey, you drew something wrong. You drew a 5/5. 11.
Yeah. At this point, you have enough cards in your hand that me attacking lets you like chump with Phoenix and recur it if you have it. You have an idea in the graveyard too. Pass the turn.
We have a broken man, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna draw a card. I'll ship it.
Block.
Sure. Your turn. Look, it could be Niv Mizzet, just saying. 10. Sure.
Go.
Jumpstart a Radical Idea.
Yep.
Alright, we don't really care if we get hit with a Spell Pierce here, so we're just going to try to shock Storm Tamer. Alright, how do you want me to beat you? Just okay, well, I'll just wait on the Niv. Alright, steal the Storm Tamer. Kill the Tempest Gem. Ooh, nice. Okay. Now, Dive Down's a good one. Spoke too soon. Yeah.
How big is it?
I don't know. Never mind. Just go. I don't want to die. I don't think it's lethal. Can I make it lethal with a Lava Coil is the question.
It's 14.
Okay, your turn. I'll just say go. I don't think you can get through both Crackling Drake and Phoenix. And with us just casting Niv next turn, I think it should be okay. Another Tempest Gem? Okay, I'm at 9.
That's the turn.
Niv, coil this, draw a card, shoot that. And attack with just this. Alright, here we go.
Deep freeze or bust.
Yeah. I was in the back of my head.
Pass.
Alright, play Phoenix. Attack for 11.
Missed a trigger.
Yeah, irritate. I didn't miss the trigger. Your turn.
Make it a 5/5.
Yep.
You can go.
All right, draw, and I will shoot you for 1.
7.
I'll attack with these. Force him to
the
block the
Niv.
He's at 1. Your turn.
So I need to draw a Chart of Course into 2 relevant cards.
Yep.
Finally hit this stretch of good draws. If I just hit it like 2 cards earlier, I win.
Yeah. I was playing pretty aggressive because I was ahead and I just wanted to close the game, but like I could have just never attacked with Niv and just sat on it and then like use the Phoenixes to double block. Do you think that's enough of this matchup? I don't think you don't. I don't feel like you want to play another game of this matchup.
Nah, let's play one more.
He wants one more. Okay. All right.
We got time.
We do have time. You're not wrong about that.
Todd, 187 Annihilation wants to know, did you like the mono red Phoenix deck you played yesterday?
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit. I still think it needs some work. The sideboard, I think, is the weak link. I'm going to be tinkering with it a bit after Syracuse. For the rest of the week, I think I'm just going to be streaming some Legacy on Magic Online. We're going to try out a couple different variants of Grixis Phoenix. I think a version with Dark Confidant could be quite good. There's some people who've been working on that. I'm going to start with one of their lists and just go from there. But yeah, I do like the mono red one.
And Ross, what do you think about the new Izzet Phoenix lists that are playing 3 Snapcaster Mages or some amount of Snapcaster Mages in the flex spots?
That's Daniel Fournier
and Dylan Donegan.
Sure. There was one that made the top 4 of the Magic Online MCQ this past weekend. That looked pretty good.
No, it was the same list.
Sure.
I don't think Snapcaster has a lot of utility in the Phoenix deck because you're really just like flashing back a cantrip and you're not doing it very efficiently.
Or bolt.
Yeah, it's like a removal spell or cantrip is what you get. You see Snapcaster at its best in decks that have a wide range of different things. And I used to sideboard 1 when I had things like Path to Exile, and you still have counter spells in your sideboard because it's good to be able to like double up on those powerful cards. Those lists are usually splashing green for life goes on against burns. You get to double up on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like it's not a particular like aggressive threat, so it takes the deck in a slower direction, which I don't think is where it really wants to go. The deck's pretty good going long as long as you manage your resources effectively and utilize your Phoenix as well. But it's not a bad card in the deck. I've just been so impressed with Terramander that I don't feel the need to like go in any sort of other direction.
I mean, I think that just having another threat that utilizes the graveyard is not where you want to be. You know, you put so much pressure on Thing in the Ice when your opponent is playing like Leyline of the Void, Rest in Peace, Relic of Progenitus. Like, your other cards just become so bad when your opponent presents you as one of those.
Yeah, I mean, Terramander is the same way.
No,
2-2-1 instead of 1 mana 1/1 flyer.
I don't. That's what I've been struggling to figure out that last threat, honestly, because it needs to not use the graveyard and be good with Thing in the Ice.
Just play more Crackling Drakes, right?
Yeah,
Jack for 1.
19.
You can go.
Your turn.
Attack for 1.
18.
Mystical Oak Herald.
Sure.
You can go.
Radical Idea.
Resolves.
Steve Vince. Here you go.
Attack for 2.
16.
You can go.
Radical Idea.
Resolves.
Chart of Course.
Resolves.
Start a Phoenix. I will shock targeting Terramander.
Spell Pierce.
I will shock targeting Terramander.
Dive down.
Okay, bring back Phoenix, and I think I'll just play D. Your turn. The longer the game goes, I think the more advantaged I become. I didn't even really want to fight there over the Terramander, but drawing the 2 shocks as my draw off the Charted Course was just too nutty. Attack for 2. Okay, I'm at 14.
You can go. Yep.
Your turn.
You don't have a 3rd shock?
No.
Oh, I figured you would.
Well, you're wrong.
Attack for 1.
All right, 13.
Chart, of course.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You can go.
One, two, three, four, five. I'll attack for 5. Doesn't get hit by a trickster at the moment, so.
It's unreal. If Todd's not able to return the Phoenix there, like I think this game is easy. Because you like Drake, and then I spent the entire game playing a little slowly to hold up capture. But because you're able to return the Phoenix, I'm forced to tap out for the enchantment. Then I can't Essence capture this. Then I hold it up for this turn with Trickster to race this, and he has Niv Mizzet. If you just don't return the Phoenix, I get to capture this, deep freeze this, and like Trickster it, tempo this once you bring that back.
Tricksters in hand. You're not dead. You can upkeep pop my Niv again if you want.
I know. I mean, that's what I have to do. So I like Trickster tap that thing, but I like just don't have enough pressure. You're at 13.
You can make this a 5/5 if you have land. What you do?
You want me to do that now?
Sure. I don't know, man.
For 8.
Then
I'm dead.
Okay. Look, I'm just saying, you do you. I don't care. However you want to do it. I'm just playing Magic the Gathering, dude.
Attack for 4. You have 2 Radical Ideas in your graveyard too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just can't do it. Like, if Todd maybe had some like sorceries in his hand instead, I could like try to tap this down and upkeep and stop it for a turn. But with the Radical Ideas in the graveyard, like maybe I have to just adapt this. But like, no, you have 5 triggers off of that. You're going to draw a card for turn. You play the 2 Radicals in your graveyard. They each trigger this. That's an extra card, an extra ping, and ping themselves off the resolution. So that's 5 damage already. So I just can't do anything. It's dead. Never got to use the Essence Capture. Maybe I like can try to play more slowly and like just keep holding up. That was the mistake. So I just keep holding up the capture. I get to capture the Drake, put a counter on the Herald, keep getting in for 2 with that, then eventually deep freeze the Niv Mizzet when you play it and make the Terramander. So I think I just got too scared of the Arclight Phoenix. And shouldn't have deep freezed it and should have just played patiently from there. And maybe I can, I think I have a good shot at winning that game actually if I just play patiently. But
yeah, I agree.
When you get,
look, this is your tensions right now through the roof. I don't really know why. I understand you played this deck at the PT. You have like some sort of weird emotional attachment to it. You don't like losing. I've been there. Okay, I haven't beat you in Versus Live in almost a month now. Okay, just want to throw that out there. I won the marbles once, and then the very next week you won them back, and they've literally been sitting there for 3 weeks. Okay,
except for that day we walked in and they were behind you for some reason.
Yeah, what was up with that?
I don't know.
I blamed Parnell.
Probably
the Commander versus crew. Look, just calm down. Look, now you get a matchup that I think you are super favored in. We're going to be playing Michael Bonday's Simic Nexus deck versus the mono blue aggro deck, and you're just going to keep the marbles, and everything's going to be right in the world. So settle down, little birdie.
No, I just got too tilted in that last game. If I just play patiently, I think I'm pretty good. The Terramander will eventually go over the top of the Phoenix.
This is a great learning experience. I know personally, whenever I start to lose in a tournament, even if I'm still alive in the tournament, like in an open, if I'm 3-2 to start off, like at round 6 is not going to go well. Like I'm just too hot headed, you know. And in this spot, like if you had just settled yourself, figured out that you can beat the Arclight Phoenix. You just need to make sure that Crackling Drake doesn't hit. Save the deep freeze for the Niv Mizzet. You might be able to grind through all of this stuff. And yes, it's an uphill battle. Yes, this is a bad matchup. And it doesn't feel good to lose. But at all spots, you need to think like Reed Duke. Never give up. Play till the last match. Play till the last turn. Try to figure out the best route to victory no matter how dire it looks. Unfortunately for him, though, couldn't quite do it against Autumn. Burchett.
He played a little bit too patiently.
Yeah, that's true too.
Got punished by that Siren Storm Tamer off the top.
Yeah, he also didn't upkeep the Coral or the Merfolk Trickster, and I don't think that was necessarily wrong. But he ended up getting savagely punished.
He got punished for that too, but I think that was fine.
I agreed.
I think both of his plays being patient were fine. He just happened to get punished off the top of the deck. So, but that's neither here nor there. Regardless, if you want to beat up on Mono Blue, I think we found the way to do it because Jesus.
I did not feel good. It felt great. It did not look good. A true savaging. But, I mean, we saw basically the complete opposite happen to Luis in the top 4. That Esper control deck is just so well set up to defend against things like Arclight Phoenix because of Cry of the Carnarium being such a potent sweeper against the likes of Azorius Aggro and Mono Blue. So, I mean, it's give and take. You know, Luis had a really strong record. I think this deck is quite good against Sultai, but with Sultai not breaking into the top 8, no matter how good it did throughout the tournament, people are going to be looking at those top 8 results when they choose their deck over the next few weeks. And I think that the fact that Luis got so savaged by Esper that people might just stay away from his deck because of it, even though it's good against Sultai, it's good against Mono Blue. And I think you can actually build a sideboard that ends up being pretty good against Nexus. Like, if you look at Luis's sideboard, there's no negates. You know, there's there's 3 negates. There's 3 negates, 1 disdainful stroke, but there's not, like, you know, it's more focused on beating creatures with, like, the extra beacon bolt. The Sorcerer's Spyglass was, like, kind of tech for Teferi because the Esper decks just don't have a way to kill artifacts. And but like the main deck has like 4 lava coils that are dead in the matchup and a bunch of shocks which are mediocre. And we saw him bring back Phoenix after Phoenix and just get obliterated by Cry of the Carnarium. So I mean, there is a downside to playing this deck, and that the sweepers become pretty good against you. Whereas if you play Enigma Drake and Dive Downs and Spell Pierce, like, you know, you have a little bit better shot at beating those control decks.
Yeah, definitely agree on that point. And Esper was a pretty good performing deck. If you look at the top constructed list, there's a lot of Esper in there, and it wasn't among the more popular decks. It was, I think, 5th most popular in the field. So being able to put up those kind of numbers at a lower metagame percentage is quite impressive. So we might see Esper pick up a little bit in the waning weeks of this season, which makes Phoenix worse, but it definitely beats the crap out of Mono Blue.
Yeah. So if you're looking to beat Mono Blue, maybe give Izzet Phoenix a try. This throwback version looked really powerful, looked really strong. LSV put a hurting on Marcio Cavallo, fell eventually in the top 4. Maybe if he had been in the Mono Blue side of the bracket, if he had played against Reed Duke into Autumn, like maybe he would have ultimately ended up becoming the victor, but he may have ended up falling in the finals to that Esper control deck, so you never know. That's going to do it for the second match here on Versus Live. When we come back, we're going to have Simic Nexus, Michael Bonday's list, and we're going to run that up against Autumn Burchett's Mono Blue, the same deck that we just played. We're going to see if Michael Bonda's deck can actually fight through all that cheap interaction. Wizard's Retort, Negate, Spell Pierce, these are cards that are going to be really tough to beat.
Agreed.
All right. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere for more Versus Live.